Hello everyone, it's Sloth here, and today we are continuing the Alchemy spree with some of the new decks. And let me tell you, Alchemy seems so fun right now, and the cards are busted, and they enable plays that weren't possible before. So try it, you will like it. And you will see in this video that we are doing some extremely broken things. I won't spoil much, but let's say that 4 mana Hullbreaker Horror is a very good card, and you can just main phase it because it's just for a 4-drop. So yeah, you can do a lot. So going back to the deck, for the cards, this card is the main idea behind this kind of deck. Geistchanneler lowers the instant or sorcery in your hand cost by 2 mana. And you can easily see we have a very good land that can benefit from it. So if we have 2 Geistchannelers, we can cast Seagate Restoration for 3 mana. And it's especially good because it depends on how many cards do you have in your hand. So the earlier you play it, the better it is. And for 3 mana, believe me, you have quite a lot of cards in your hand. And given it's a sorcery, that's a huge upside. Normally you aren't usually able to cast it because it's sorcery and it demands you not to play anything for the full turn and keep the guard down. But with this, it's fine. Enemy can play like a 4-drop or something like this. It's not game ending and you suddenly have 10 or 12 cards in your hand. It's busted and it's really great. We have 4 copies of Unexpected Conversion because it really plays out with Geistchanneler as well. It's 1 mana when you discount it. So you draw 2 cards, you may exile an instant or sorcery card from your hand, and if you do, you can search your library for this name of the card and exile as many copies as you want. And you can also seek an instant or sorcery card for each card you exiled from hand. So what it really does is cycle all the useless cards for the matchup that you have in hand. So for example, if you are playing against slow, like non-creature deck, you can cycle all the Shadow Verdict, all the rituals, like all the removal even. And if you are, for example, against some kind of wide board deck that just floats you and you have full hand of dismisses, no problem, you just cycle them and suddenly you have sweepers, and next turn you can sweep the board. So this card is extremely strong and it usually draws you at least 3 cards, most of the time like 4 or something like this. And you can get it for 1 mana. So you can supplement counter spell action with this. So you have 4 mana, you keep the Absorb Energy up and you just play main phase for 1 mana this. So it's extremely good combo. And we also have discovered the formula, a card that might not seem extremely strong, but when you start using it, it's actually very good, and I'm starting to like it more and more. So it basically seeks you 3 non-land cards, non-land, so it means you won't draw land with this, so it's not draw, it's just a better draw, because at 6-point mana you usually have better things to do than to play lands, and seek it means they're random, of course. And then every card that's not a land in your hand gets discounted. So this combined with this makes some absolute insane plays possible. You will see. And also it really speeds up the whole hand. For example, after you play the Discover, like all those counter spells are 2 mana, those are 3 mana, and with this they are also 2 mana, so suddenly your full hand can be played very smoothly, and it's very easy to just fit a lot of action in the same turn. Into the Roil can draw you cards, and it also benefits from the discount. So for example, it's 4 mana kicked, but it will be 2 mana with this, and it is perpetual, so you know, if you ever tweak the deck to use graveyard in any way, it's just even better. So yeah, Absorb Energy is good counter spell in this deck, and it discounts. Even if you counter creatures, it might seem bad idea because you don't have creatures mostly in the deck, but believe me, Hullbreaker Horror, even for 1 mana less, makes an insane difference, and it's addicting to start stacking Absorb Energy. If you counter 3 creatures during the game, suddenly it's discounted by 3, and it's much easier to play it with any kind of instance that you have and protect it. So that's actually a huge deal. And rest of the deck is like a standard control shell with a lot of counter spells. So Kindred Denial is one of them. You counter spell and seek a card with the same value as the spell that you've countered. So for example, if you want to hit Cling to Dust, you want to counter something for 1 mana. Then you have like 40% that you will hit it, and if not, you will hit Bloodchief first. If you want Sweeper, you counter something for 5. If the enemy plays Collected Company, you either draw counter spell or Ritual of Soot, most likely. You can tweak it, and maybe you can leave 1 Sweeper here, or for example 3 Rituals, if you really feel like it. I like it this way. And the main idea behind the deck is that we use Seagate Restoration combined with this discount and this discount to play it extremely early and give us such a huge advantage that we simply cannot lose just from the cards that we have answer for everything, and Hullbreaker just closes the game after we have full control. So let's go into the game. And as always, if you like the content and you enjoy the decks as much as I do, hit the subscribe button, it really helps. And I'm really excited for the Alchemy. So far I've been playing it and it really feels fun, and the new cards seem both strong and just interesting. You can make new things that weren't possible previously with all the discounts. You can think about interesting combinations. The game feels a bit more skillful because you need to decide which cards you discount. This is a huge deal. Do you discount Sweeper or Counterspell? It might cost you the game, and I think the more decisions you make, the better for the game. So let's go into the video, and thank you for watching. So as a second player, it's not a great hand. We are very interactive, but if the enemy isn't very aggressive deck, that's very good for us. And worst case, you have at least a Sweeper and some card draw. So I think we can go through it, and it seems the enemy is indeed not very aggressive. So what we want to do here is go for the speed. This one is fine. 1 mana, draw 3 cards is very good. Okay, and they start to do the elemental thing. So I think we keep up the counter spell for now. Those cards can actually be very good, as this is an elemental deck. I honestly don't think they care about 1 HP damage. They probably won't attack as well. So they draw 2 cards pretty much. Yeah, that's worth counterspell. And they only have 4 in the deck, and that's like a main engine for all of this. So let's just be patient. And actually right now we start to have a lot of counterplay, so let's pressure them a bit. So it's an elemental, obviously. I think we do it, otherwise we have a dead turn, and we need additional lands and stuff to do. And the more mana we have, the easier this one will be. So let's go for 1 mana, draw a lot of cards. So do we want a lot of them? I think we could cycle the Bloodchief first. They have a lot of small elementals. So let's draw like this. We hit the land, so that's already fine. And we get rid of 1 of them. That's a good draw. So let's play land and see what the enemy does. And let's just go full aggressive with our 1 power attackers. Yep. So it's only elemental. So that's not very scary. Okay. So we are starting to go into the Sweeper era, let's say. I believe right now they can use Omnath, so that's probably one of the things that we can expect in this deck. Yeah, so let's see what the enemy does. We have a lot of options. The idea is that we want... not sure why they can play any color. Oh, the World Tree, of course. So, this one. It's only for permanent, and they use it. So, fine, you have it. He draws one card, but so are we. And it's only a land for the enemy. So let's bounce it, and next turn, yes, and that's exactly what we want. Good, good. So let's go for the Geistchanneler, and hopefully we can start drawing those things. We also have removal. But do we counter it? Yeah, let's do it. I don't want the enemy to get a card. And they only get 1 mana, so the turn is dead for them. Yeah. So we could let them have 1 turn, and let's go. Like, that's what we want from this deck, so let's go crazy. Thanks. And the enemy is impressed, and I agree with him completely. That was impressive. I might play the second one, but let's be serious, I won't play both of them. We only have 30 cards. Okay. Okay, so trample. That's not as much damage. However, we have to block, so it's 11-15. Not really have to, but it's better. We don't want to go extremely low against this kind of deck. They might have like some direct damage. So let's play this. So it only works for 1 turn, and we could play the Horror, I guess. This doesn't have trample as well. So actually I will do it like this. This is very good. Because it's a free creature pretty much, because we discounted by 2 and we have a lot of answers, so whatever the enemy does we can either counter, block. So this card really comes into play in so many situations. It's, I think, one of the best cards in this set. So what would you like to do? You have not really much mana, only 3. So I will use the Absorb, because I want my Hullbreaker to be better. So it's only 6 mana. 3 more counters and 4 more counters, and it's 2 mana. Yeah, obviously you can go as low as 3 mana only. So what is the next play? The Cigarette Restoration really changed the game. Suddenly we have such an advantage that the enemy like cannot pierce through all the counter spells, removals and things. And I will kill it because it's higher than 3 mana cost, so when we sweep we are left with this anyway. Thanks. Enemy is really impressed, and I don't really blame him. And now we start the game menu, and we have 8 cards and the enemy has 2. Okay, enters the battlefield, double power of each other creature, blah blah blah. When dies, you may put it into its owner's library. Okay, so that's like a standard gut thing. Okay, I will. Hullbreaker at 5 mana. It's so addictive when you start like discounting the horror. And yes, we will do it. We will do it, and it has little sense, but we will still do it. This deck is crazy. Okay, so we have only 14 cards. Let's see if that's enough for our arch enemy. And I will leave the link for the Hullbreaker. And this makes Hullbreaker cost 4 mana. This is crazy. This is so crazy. And I really appreciate that the enemy is staying so long. And I will just play so we can see the Hullbreaker for 4 mana. So I normally would kill it, but I just want enemy to have some hope, let's say. No, I don't want this one. So let's go with the Discover the Formula, because this discounts everything. And enters the battlefield. Sure, so let's see if the enemy plays something. Okay, now we can bounce the previous one. We could pay kicker, but I just want to make sure that we counter anything. Probably not needed because we see the enemy hand, but you know, the enemy is extremely impressed. So let's play 4 mana, 4 mana Hullbreaker Horror, and I think it's backed. It should even here show less, but you know, 4 mana for Hullbreaker. I think that's pretty good. Oh, and we cannot target. So maybe let's use 1 mana to kill this. And let's help the enemy and let him get a copy. This deck is something else. I think I first time was able to cast the Seagate Restoration so consistently. I think we can counter it, because why not? And not use the Hullbreaker. So yeah, enemy is really a champion to let us play it out. So I think we can give him some small reward by finding something cool outside of the game. Not sure what yet. That was enough. Yeah, new Alchemy cards are pretty darn good. I think they are in like a good place for the meta. Like 4 mana Hullbreaker Horror, that sounds about right. Okay, so I'm usually brave with the hands that I take, but this is a bit of a disaster, so let's mulligan it. Okay, this one is better. So probably we do it like this. Seagate is just a bad land for the early game, so yeah, let's do it like this. I don't want to risk that we get mana screwed and we have to pay 3 life against some kind of aggro, because they are always aggro. And we do have 2 mana play, so let's do it like this. And we want balanced mana, so we want black for Heartless Act for the creature that will most likely come. Okay, sorry, I had to adjust the camera. So the enemy used Cathartic Pyre, and discards up to 2 cards and then draws that many cards. Okay, that's fine. We could sweep something, but this is obviously a Reanimator deck, and Cling to Dust is like a biggest premium card you can even have in this matchup, because it's pretty much a better counter spell. They target some creature and you just purge it. The resurrection effect fizzles, and you also like get rid of the how do you say it? You get rid of the target permanently. This one isn't perfect though, but okay, I guess we have to manage, because this creates way too much pressure. It's just 3 mana, 4/4 in 3 different creatures. That's crazy. So if the enemy has the resurrection spell, they usually run the one with the flashback for 4, and that's a bit scary. If we tap out, it might cost us the game, but I think we have to. And let's think what we get. This will be very tricky. So Thought Erasure isn't perfect. I think this can be very good. Negate is also fine, but I think this one is just more important because we are slowly out of options. Okay, and that was correct assumption. It is possible we play it next turn even, because we are starting to get a bit behind with the draws. And the enemy didn't get a card. So yeah, let's start the party. We need to start doing something. Okay, and that was perfect. We draw exactly cards we needed. And we can play live. It doesn't matter in this matchup. Okay, so I think that was game-winning like fetch. So they have 5 mana right now for something. Exactly. So, oh my friend, my dear sweet summer child, you can have this. Please go on. And that's the beauty of Cling to Dust. This card is completely busted in this matchup. It's like counter spell that you can cast every few turns for free. Like, it's insane. So right now I assume they go for the demon. This can be good against Pyromancer. We cannot play both, unfortunately, so we need to wait. The good thing is that after we dismiss, we draw cards, so when we get rid of those, we get 4 additional cards, and hopefully some of them will be what we want. So the game is pretty much countering all the... how is this card called? All the Unburial Rites from the enemy, so 8 counter spells left to go in this game, and we have Cling to Dust unlocked. So I think at this point the enemy cannot lose, and indeed this was game winning. Okay, so you want this creature, my dear friend. But actually, what have we for 5 drops? Shadow Verdict. I think we might have something else, I don't remember. With this card you really want the decklist next to you. So let's get rid of those. So, sure, go for it. And we have a lot of counter spells. And when the enemy plays this, we counter it, and probably we use Shadow Verdict to get rid of the small annoying creature. Okay, and they need to load on the creatures because they actually don't have anything to resurrect, which is pretty fun. This one is completely useless, so if they resurrect this, I'm extremely happy to allow this. Okay, Wars. However, yeah, like we have Cling to Dust, so if we counter it, there's, I think, 25% we hit it. Yeah, because we didn't have Bloodchief first. And for 25% that's not worth it. Especially that we counter the rights itself. Not a great meal. So that's it for the turn. We keep it because that's extremely important. And if we can have enough lands, let's count. So 3, 5. We have 1 counter spell. And I really think it's worth it, because then we get rid of Stitcher Supplier, and also a Pyromancer isn't an issue. It's not a huge deal, but it's just annoying. And we can have counter spells, so that's enough. They cannot play 2. They need at least 8 mana to double cast this. And I think they don't have any real target. They only can take the Grand Cenobite, and let's be honest, this card is garbage. Like, they can even untap with it for 5 turns and it doesn't matter. I assume they play it against creature decks, but yeah, like it's horrible. I'm surprised there's nothing better than this. Okay, so 3 mana. Yes, I would really like my counter spell, thank you. Oh, even better. I can draw my cards and get a counter spell. So let's draw. and you can see extreme power of this card. So for example, right now I can draw additionally 2 cards. You need to get one and then search for everything. Yeah, thank you. So it's 3 mana, draw 4 cards. Did we draw 2 cards? Seek an instant or sorcery for each card exiled from your hand this way. Okay, maybe I missed it. We should get 4 new cards. Where are they? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And we got the game-winning land because, you know, in real high league you just win with your lands. Just a joke. It wasn't extremely funny. So let's go for the main dish for today and get 5 cards. Oh man, I love this deck. This deck is so extremely fun. And if enemy plays, for example, an instant, we can even double counterspell. You know we will do it. You know we will do it. Which deck has such fun options? Like, come on. It can get better than this. So we have 16 cards. Funnily enough, we don't have Hullbreaker Horror, but we will just fetch it with this. Because, yeah, we didn't get rid of it, I hope. No, okay, that was different game. So, yeah, we have quite a lot of options, and this deck is crazy. They don't have instants, so you know what? Let's just discount all of this, because I still don't think we have enough. Let's play land. And I don't know, let's draw more cards. This is so silly. This is silly. Okay, so we have 6 mana Hullbreaker, and I don't even check what I have in the hand. Like, we can answer exactly everything in the enemy deck. So let's just keep playing. I will wait 1 turn. We will be very nice person. And if we have some instant, we can counter our own spell, but we have nothing to bounce. Unfortunately, maybe I could cling to dust, but that's fine. And let me tell you why. Somehow we don't have lands, so we can already see the effect from this at only 6 non-land cards. Suddenly we have so much and not really too many lands, which is fine, which is very good. Okay. I will counter it. And I will get discount on my horror. Yep, 5. If you have more, we can go as low as 0, I think. Cling to dust. You can clearly see I'm having quite a lot of fun with this deck. It's pretty darn good. But they need to fix the price. Well, maybe it's not, because it's converted mana costs 7, but it's less if you want to cast it. Okay, and now our turn. I think it should go pretty well. And let's not make it longer. So enemy was a good sport. He let us play it out for the new cards, so I appreciate it. So Highborn Clock, that was a good game, and thank you for it. 17 cards in the hand. And what's best, we didn't really like extremely hard tap out, because all of this was quite cheap over and over. And look at our hand, like 1 mana Into the Roil, 2 mana counter spells, 1 mana Geist. It's just insane how fast we can go if we need to. Okay, we are going first. We have decent hand. The only issue is that we don't have big spell that we can discount, but we'll work on it. We might even wait with the Geistchannelers, because they are pretty important in the deck, so maybe we can just wait. And Absorb Energy will be very nice with the Horror. Okay, however, we are against elves, and I think we prefer to have somebody. This discount won't really matter, but we need some blocker to slow the enemy down, and we need to draw something. So obviously Sweeper would be the best. And this aren't like regular F, so it's probably like Sacrifice. So I think that's better for us. Let's go. Okay, so just a small thing. No, that's not what you want to do. We are keeping this one, and thanks to the discount we saved 2 HP, so that might matter. Small things. And you can see this amazing pet with full variety of animations. Wow, I'm sure the team was working days on this small gloss animation. Wow. Okay, anyway. We want to counter something, but we want to counter something decent. This 1 mana discount isn't like the biggest deal on the world, so let's just wait and treat it as a normal counter spell pretty much. I would really like to draw some big spells so we can discount and start getting value. This is the only big draw in our deck that doesn't benefit from this. So yeah. But thanks to playing this one, you can see how much life it saves us. We probably would be like at 15 already, and against this kind of deck, when they get Cat and Owen, every HP matters a lot. I like the art on this one, it looks so great. So, they can cast something else, but we won't be able to double counter spell anyway. But actually it even discounts this one. So yeah, there are some benefits. However, we need the value part of our deck. That's why we have like 10 draw cards and like 6 counter spells that draw cards. It would be amazing to draw some of it. However, even the Hullbreaker Horror with some small assistance can maybe work some miracles here. Okay, so yeah, they will start to sacrifice unless something bad happens to them. So let's think. I think there's a very small chance that the enemy uses the Ghast to maybe minus it somehow. I don't think they will, they have no reason, but we don't lose anything by this attack. And it might be confusing for the enemy, so who knows. Okay. And now it's probably more clear what we wanted. So the enemy gets treasure. We could play it, but I think at this point we aren't forced to. If the enemy plays some small creatures maybe, but he only has like 1 card at the moment. And we are getting not the right parts from the deck. But on the bright side we have counter spells, so for now we are quite safe. And if we counter creature, we are able to play the Horror. Oh man, which with our draw it actually might be a correct play. However, the enemy needs 2 cards to activate it. How much do we want the Hullbreaker? I would prefer to. We have so much value in the deck. At some point we have to draw our cards. So I will play it slowly. It might be a mistake. However, if we go all in on the Hullbreaker without any instance, that's not really great, because we can counter it, then play the Horror, and then we are left with 2 Geistchannelers, and if we lose Horror, this might cost us the game. So I don't think they outvalue us from this point. We will see, but we are drawing a lot of stuff. And the moment we hit some kind of high impact spell, we just play both of them, and suddenly we can play it for free in early. Between the turns, of course. And this is pretty much a 2-mana counter spell that also has upside. Yep. And all it does is attack for 1 for now. Okay. So this will be one of those games. We are drawing exactly not the cards we want. So what we want is the restoration land. So it costs 7, we can discount it to 3 blue and suddenly draw 7 cards. So that's the prime target that we want. Wonder what the enemy has. Maybe some kind of removal? Or maybe more of this? At this point I will counter it, not because it's a good idea, but I have no idea how much time it will take us to draw any card from our deck that our deck relies on. We have 15 or 20 of them, but you know, there are also lands here and sweepers, so I expect to draw all of them every single turn. So I want to make sure I have play next turn. That's pretty much it. Oh, and magically we drew something. Oh man, Magic the Gathering. It gets on your nerves sometimes with all those random draws, but I think we are in a very good spot. We could even play this for the dismiss. Is that the play? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. The biggest threat from the enemy right now is instant removal. Okay, and we are starting to draw into some cards, I think. Finally. Both of them are very good. So yeah, we will use one of them. The enemy is reading the card probably. The enemy has a lot of low impact drops, so I think I will go for Dismiss, because it's better. We need to counter 3 or 4 mana spell for this at least to be very good, and they don't really have much of them. And if they get something like Owen, Trail of Cramps, we don't get great draws. Like Mr. Caronte, this isn't as hard text as it seems, so if we could go on. So basically they are waiting for the Trail of Cramps so they can start reading stuff. And we will go for the Dismiss because we want any kind of card from our deck and not like low impact 1 or 2 mana spells. So we prefer to counter with this. I'm so tempted by let's go for it. Okay. And I really like what I see. So I think I will go for the 4 mana. So indeed I didn't expect that they drew it, and that's very good for us. We could also use the Absorb Energy, then we could double counter spell, but I prefer this draw. Okay, you've got it. So we draw a land finally, and what can we do? I think we just bounce it. I think that's still the best option that we have. And we also get discount for future, so that might come handy. So let's get rid of the Bolas Citadel. Not sure what the card here is, but better safe than sorry. And we cannot attack because it's obvious that we don't have any play, so they will block, no reason not to. So now they probably want to replay if they hit a land, of course. They don't seem to be. So if they miss a land drop, they have the turn, and if they hit the land, we will see. But they need to play land, so if that's like the land, Citadel doesn't do anything. So we will see how long can they go before they hit. Yep, and the second one was land. And I think at this point we don't need those, but we don't have enough mana. So let's do it like this. This one is scary. Let's bounce the Citadel, and this way he's forced to replay it. So we might just also attack with everything. We know this is land because he stopped playing cards, so we want to like make him draw it. So here you can see it will be a land probably. And this is legendary artifact, so let's just dismiss it for 2 mana casually. And let's return something, maybe treasure. They cannot play anything for 1 mana most probably. So that will make things even easier. And they will probably scoop, because we can just attack and get rid of it. So let's kill this one, bounce this one. We can also use this to bounce the Geistchannelers and start discounting to oblivion everything. So that was pretty interesting game.